Hey everybody, how's it going? I want to talk a little bit today about the things that are going on in the public schools here in this country. Several days ago, there was an uproar, rightfully so, because parents found out that a school, it's down around Chapel Hill here in North Carolina. There was a school down there. It's an elementary school. And the parents found out there were a couple of books in that school. One of the books is something about Santa Claus being gay and being married to a black man. And Santa Claus basically, in this book, he retires and turns the job over to his black gay husband. There was another book in the school library called It Isn't Rude to Be Nude. And this is a book, it's not actual pictures, it was drawings, but it was drawings of basically nude children in this book. And that's what was in this elementary school for those kids to be looking at. And obviously it upset a lot of parents, and rightfully so. And there were those who defended having these books in the library, claiming that removing these books was basically oppressing gay rights and all this crap. This is something that's been going on for quite a while in our public schools. Several years ago, and I'm going to try to tell this without giving any names, obviously just for the protection of people involved. But several years ago, there's a middle school here in this area. There was a girl that was going to that school, and she would come in and talk about down there during the day. She said you could walk down the halls and there would be groups of students. She said there'd be groups of girls and groups of boys. She said the girls, you go by them, all you could hear was the girls talking about some other girl that they thought was good looking, they'd like to go out with her, they'd like to date her. She said the boys were the same way. You go past a group of boys and they'd be standing there in the hall talking about some boy that they thought was good looking, they'd like to date him, go out with him. She said she didn't know how it was in the boys' restroom, but in the girls', she said you go in there and there'd be girls in there kissing every time you went in. This is what students were being exposed to. And the school, they upheld this. You don't speak out against it. You just accept it. You go on with it. Well, she finished her time there, got out of that school. A few years later, another girl was going to this same school, and her parents pulled her out and put her in a private school. And I don't blame them one bit, because that girl's mind was literally being warped in that school. They said she'd come in one day and tell them that she learned at school today that she was gay, she was a lesbian. She'd come in another day and tell them that she learned today she was actually a boy, she's not a girl, she was actually a boy. This is the kind of stuff that was being pumped into that girl's brain at that school during the day. And her parents were having to sit there at night trying to straighten her mind out where it was being warped in this school. And they got tired of it. They pulled her out and put her in a public school. And of course the school, they upheld this. You don't speak out against it. Whatever's going on, you tolerate it. You don't speak out. You don't oppose it. I was told that at the same time that the last girl was going there, I was told that there was a girl at that school who identified as a cat. They said she would sit around in the classroom during the day licking her hands like a cat licking its paws, grooming. She'd sit in there and purr and meow. They said there was a boy that went to that school who identified as a dog. He would walk around in there and growl and bark at the other students. And you tolerate it, you don't speak out against it, you tolerate it, you go with the flow, This is the kind of stuff, though, that's going on in the schools It's indoctrination. You know, there's people, the trans community, the LGBTQ, ABC, XYZ, they keep adding more letters to it. I don't know. I don't care. They've said, we're coming for your children. And that's not a hollow threat. They mean what they say. They're coming for them. And the schools, you know, this stuff is going on in the schools. It's being done intentionally. It's being done on purpose. The kids, they're in the public schools. Their minds are being warped. They're deliberately having this stuff pushed on them during the day. They're being indoctrinated. The public schools in this country are garbage. Some are better than others, but they're all garbage anymore, the public schools. If it's any way possible, you'd be better off homeschooling your kids. I know that's not possible for everybody, but if it is, you'd definitely be better off homeschooling your kids. If you can't homeschool them and you can afford it, get them out of the public schools, put them in private schools. I know, there again, I know that's not an option for everybody. If your kids have to go to the public schools, you need to spend as much time with them as you can. Try to keep their minds straight, because the public schools are absolutely warping their minds. And there's this push now in a lot of places for year-round school. That's to keep your kids in that school as much as possible. Keep your kids away from you. They don't want your kids at home during the summer. They don't want your kids having a summer break anymore, because you might straighten their minds out a little while, for a little bit while they're at home. They want your kids away from you. They want them in the public school where they can keep warping their minds with this crap that's in the public schools today. Now, you need to talk to your kids. You need to try to spend as much time with them as you can. Try to keep them straight, because the public schools, they're absolutely indoctrinating your kids. They are warping your kids' minds. They're trying to absolutely create a whole generation of transgender gay children. That's what they're out for. That is the agenda of the public schools. That is the agenda of the transgender, the LGBTQ, all that. That is their agenda. They are after your kids. You need to be on the lookout. You need to take care of your kids. You need to watch out for them. Thanks for watching.